FX3, 186 horsepower, Lycoming. Cub Crafters modifies the IO 360, so they call it a 363. So it's got a little more horsepower at 186 horsepower. Constant speed prop, fuel injected. Let's do a little walk around on the outside first. So we've got the Alaskan bush wheels, 31 inch. Got the Beringer dual caliper, which I highly recommend. It came with a single caliper. At Oshkosh, I met with the Beringer folks, excuse me, and yeah, there's a known issue with the Beringer 6-inch on 31s or larger that is just not good braking. So the dual calipers fix that problem, and it's outstanding braking, and it's the way the braking should be, in my opinion. I've got TK1 Shock Monster shocks. And I've got the Donnie Knopp via Brian Bowen from Bowen Aero LLC. Just carbon fiber fairings. Just something to tinker with, but it protects the shocks from dirt and whatnot. Gives a little more aerodynamics. Supposedly it'll pick you up 2 to 3 miles an hour, which I personally don't care about. I'm not caring about speed in a Cub. And then it does a nice job of routing the safety ropes, so you can see the safety ropes are tucked in there and they're not just hanging ugly. And then you can see a little taxi light. I do like to fly at night at times, so I do like to do 3D printing in my own CAD design. So I designed the mount, and then I picked up the Watt G3 taxi light version and then the mount for it, and set it up. Cub Crafters had the electrics and the switch inside all done. That was per my special order request. We'll take a look. Got the black louvers, gills, whatever you call. We've got the forward-looking camera, which are just another safety look, in case, you know, there are times where, like, Trent Palmer hit a cone taxiing. So any help I can get in seeing something, I'll take. So they do move the I believe that's a transponder antenna. That's the Randy Appling's Carbon Concepts cargo pod, which is around $2,800, but extremely useful. Good to keep any survival gear. Helps keep the CG forward. So if you have 2 people and you're going on across country, or me and my dog, for example, you're just gonna, you know, I've got a BRS in this as well, as you can see with the label on the back. So it just helps keep weight managed and gives you more capability. I recently upgraded the landing lights. Cub Crafters uses the Watt Prometheus Plus, which is about a 10-year-old light, but still sells strong. You know, still in production, but I wanted better light. This is 2.5 times brighter. This is the G3 landing light version, and just like I have the G3 taxi light version, which is a more diffused light. But I upgraded the lights, which required 2 breaker changes: the landing breaker in the upper left wing root, the EXT breaker, which, so the landing breaker was 5 amp, changed it to 10 amp. The EXT was 7.5 amp, which went to 10 amp, because the EXT powers the left wing root, which I had learned in the process. And then you got to change the flasher, which is behind the GDU, or the G3X in generic terms. The flasher that Cub Crafters uses, which are probably going to phase out. They're not making them anymore. So here's a 360 Insta360 camera. I believe I got this from flightflix.net. So they offer mounting solutions. The glossy black leading edges, which make it easier to clean, supposedly, but I just like the look. It really has nothing to do with cleaning. I've got the dual comm, so I've got the GNC 355, which is comm 1. And then I also have the GTR20 remote, which is over the rear seat, ceiling mounted per se. And so it's, you can't have too many radios. There are some downsides. with the G3X, but I like having the radios. We've got the, I've used the T3 tailwheel in the past, and I'm really a fan of Tony and TK1 products. This is the Shock Monster tailwheel. I believe it's a 10-inch wheel, which is super light. So I know Trent Palmer just did a video of switching over his T3 to the Shock Monster tailwheel. So I've been impressed with it. And of course, Tony is always outstanding for any questions. And so, love the Shock Monster stuff. Basic RAM mounts for GoPros. Again, you got the carbon concept, carbon fiber cargo pod. I understand Randy Appling's now offering an axe that goes with it. So some of the people that are ordering more recently, there's some axe you can get with it if you want. So that's a beautiful, Cub Crafters just did a beautiful job. And really pleased with this. So let's take a look at the inside. So before we get to the panel, let me run around the other struts here and get to the back. I don't have the, I guess we can open it. Let's start back and go forward. So let's take a look inside the extended baggage. And you can see the BRS for those that are interested. Having flown ejection seat aircraft my adult life, I like having options. BRS, I think it's like 34 pounds or something like that. It really doesn't take up much space and gives me that extra other option. And you know, kind of taboo in the Cub world, but you know, with drones, birds, a friend of mine died in midair. I've had several friends die in midairs, so you just never know, and it's an option. So that's the BRS. I have the tack arrows rear tack net back here, weighs about 15 pounds, and then have their snap-on toolkit. Expensive, but you never know when you might need it. This is just tape, duct tape that's in there, but in case I need to do any field fabric repairs. But because that weighs around 8 pounds, putting it forward helps with the CG. I added, just got these off of Amazon, these cargo nets. I don't like sitting on my wallet. You can see I'm getting ready to go fly. And I just use silicone sealant. I don't do anything fancy to mount them. Tape them, let them dry. And I have another one here. It's kind of a longer one. I don't know what the length of that one is, but and then I have the tack net back here. Just got a jacket. It's kind of a nice day here in March. And I found this. Buddy of mine, Craig, actually had posted about that. It got my attention because where to mount these Bose A20 brain holders is a problem. I've had it velcroed up there, and then this cable's not long enough, and it's either under my armpit or it's just getting in my way. So this is suction cupped. You know, I'm really careful about what I want to be putting on any, you know, plexiglass. You want to try to preserve it, not scratch it, swirls, etc., etc. So I've got the USB, which is the A and C, so it's the TA202 versus the 102 that Cub Crafters typically uses. A little more expensive, but it's going to give you a 3 amp charge. And the USB A and C, same thing up here. Got the USB A and C. Hopefully you can see that. I do have the rear. I did order the rear stick cover. So that's stowed presently. I'm going to be doing some training, so I'm ready for a passenger. Otherwise, I remove all this for cross country, put the stick cover on. That way I can put my gear and have it forward for CG, or if the dog's in the back. And then I have a cushion, a floor cushion that I had custom made. Tack arrow has these pouches just velcroed on. I have a GoPro with a tripod that just goes in that thing. I 3D printed that. You can't buy that, so I just designed a little holder, 3D print, velcroed it on, and then the GoPro I have in my hand, for example. Highly recommend the visor. Initially, I was told not to get the Rosen visor because I wear a helmet. Oh, and that didn't take long to debunk, and And so I had it added early on. Just using GoPro or RAM mounts for GoPros. This one I need to figure out because I don't like looking at the flap handle. So I'm still trying to figure out my camera setup. And the camera 99% of the time is for my debrief and might come back and watch my flying. So you've got a BRS handle for the passenger, BRS handle for me. So just treat that like a hand grenade. And usually I'll tell the passengers, I haven't flown many, but I say, you know, leave it pinned unless I'm incapacitated and the plane's not flying. You can't fly the plane, for example, because, you know, if I've got an instructor in the back or another pilot in the back. So basically you pull that, the plane's done. So let's take a look at the panel. We've got the G3X Touch. Got the G5. Again, I do fly at night, and there were some comments on some forums long ago about having the backup ADI if you like to fly at night, so I opted for that. And then the GNC 355. So it's a IFR capable panel, but Cub crafters will not have a aircraft come out of their factory without this placard, which I don't understand. Flight in IMC prohibited, yet it's an IFR panel. So here's what it is. You're the aircraft manufacturer on EAB builds, so you want to remove it. It's up to you. So I'm just leaving it. I don't intend to fly an IMC. I do, you know, I'm instrument rated. I'm not current or proficient, but I do enjoy going out and just bringing up some of the GPS approaches, which are new to me with my previous life in A10s, and doing ILSs, localizers, VORs, PAR, ASR, if y'all remember what those are back in the day. But you can see the taxi light there on the bottom left of the GDU display. Little 5-amp breaker and a on-off switch. Don't think there's anything else really to show. I always have water. Staying hydrated is important. The cup holder is included. It's not an option. I do have the fire extinguisher. Although, you know, it kind of like people say, not like you're going to use it in flight, but it's more for ground. Let me come around this side. I did put the EarthX battery in. And so it comes with a pigtail, which is nice. You really don't need to charge it like you do with the SBS J16, which has to live on the charger for the most part. So I'm pretty new with the EarthX, but it's been solid. And then I also have a NOCO pigtail for jump start, and which I did need to use when I picked this airplane up from the factory. Sure enough, the first attempt to start with, the battery was dead, so I don't know how long it's been sitting. So that's it. I do have the four vent setup in the panel. I like airflow, especially in the heat, and I've got the Aero Shield, or the suction cup shields. Typically people have the triangular one that goes in the middle, but I saw Aero Shields also has an edge to edge, so I bought that because here in Virginia, June, July is just excruciating, and you just want to get the sun off of you. And probably getting to be soon time to be putting the overhead one up. In fact, I'll probably do that today after I clean my mess up there, which I didn't do a very good job in my recent cleaning or over there. So I think that's about it. Oh, Cub Crafters went to new headset hooks, which I really like. The previous silver metal ones that they used were skull crushers. I was told by a friend to remove it, and I did. I guess Jeremy from TAC Aero, he hit some turbulence and it cracked his helmet. I think Jeremy's got a video on that on the TAC Aero site. So if you got the metal ones, you might want to look at replacing them with this newer style that's a little more safe. So that's it for 22 November Charlie, and extremely pleased with it. Flies great, and Cub Crafter did a great job with it, and it's for my forever plane, my forever Cub, and hopefully this helped you out. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer.